Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pathfinder, the podcast where we talk to experts to help students explore different majors and discover different paths forward. Today, we're focusing on the major engineering, and I'm joined by Amar Roy, a lead technical program manager for generative AI at Visa. In addition to his industry work, Amar is also a volunteer college admission coach with Scholar Match in San Francisco, helping students navigate college application and early career decisions. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
Uncle.
you for inviting.
To start off, how would you explain technical program management to a kid who doesn't know what it means, and how does it connect to an engineering background?
Correct. Engineering is applying science knowledge to our day-to-day life. So engineering, I see personally as a problem solving. You really wanted to commute faster, you invented car. You want electricity to light your home, you invented bulb. So basically people knew that what science behind that, but they never knew how to harness that knowledge to get something useful. So engineering is all about solving problems in our day-to-day life. Now, as an engineer, when I came to software, I started my career as a software engineer. But then I got into that mode, structuring things. Like when you think about a project, it is not about just getting the technology done. It is understanding the user requirement, translating that to a technical spec, then get the software done, test it, deploy it. In a project, I think only 30 to 35% effort goes into developing a software. Rest all goes into the peripheral things, like managing things and getting the right things delivered to the users with right quality. So that excited me more than the technology, getting that benefit of technology to go to the user. That part excited me more, and I am here as a technical program management.
So you were talking about how engineering is all about problem solving. My next question for you is, what problems are you responsible for solving within your company?
Yeah, so now I'm in a program which is in generative AI. Generative AI being a new technology, so every organization must address generative AI, that how generative AI can augment their businesses, that how can they provide better product and services to the end users, and also internally how generative AI can actually augment their employees' work. Like say some product manager used to create the mock-ups by hand, give it to the engineers to get back his prototype. With generative AI tools like Lovable, Bolt, Replit, he can write prompts in English and say, I need this kind of product with this specification. And then product gives him or her a nice MVP. He can take it to the engineering team and say, hey, this is my product vision, and he can do that. So it is basically augment his or her capability to using generative AI for their work. So what is happening that people really don't need to do the tedious work that they used to do. They can actually see what they are thinking in front of them and then iterate on that faster. As a program manager, my role is to make sure that the new technologies are actually deployed to these teams in a manageable way, because within an organization, you need to really think about the data security, privacy, cybersecurity, all these things.
What excites you about the future of AI within being an engineering field, and what concerns you about it?
I think the biggest benefit of AI, that it will free up our energy to devote in more creative, more critical thinking work, which actually make our productivity improve. As I mentioned, that product manager, how they are using AI, engineers are generating codes faster, but at the same time, they are not letting go their knowledge of system design or architecture. The first thing is the factual accuracy. Sometime back, I was actually creating a podcast as if Sam Altman and Dario Amodei of Anthropic, their view about AI future. So I put their writings into Google Notebook LM and say, hey, create a podcast out of that. I was listening to this podcast. Everything was so good. But then one of the podcast hosts, they say, hey, in the 150 years of US history, I said, no, US actually been as an independent country, it is 250 years, not 150 years. So that is something still today, just we need to remember that generative AI is basically a probabilistic generator of the next token or the word. So there will be instances where it will not generate the factual information. So that is one thing. I cannot totally outsource my thinking to generative AI or the ability to generate factual content to generative AI. But the other thing I will say, we try to outsource our cognitive overload, but at the same time, we need to be very careful that we are not letting go our cognitive abilities. Curiosity, critical thinking, this is very human. You cannot outsource this thing to AI. AI will generate 10, 20 different ideas, but it is up to you how you curate those ideas and deliver. The last thing that I think that we need to be careful as still the generative AI is mostly dependent on the data it's been trained on. You can see the controversies of Grok, that it is actually morphing images. We need to see that the guardrails around the output is kind of implemented so that we don't create harmful images and contents. But at the same time, you also see that the AI is not generating something which actually amplifying our biases.
Thank you for that answer. I'm curious about the more personal aspect of your job. What does your day-to-day life look like?
Yeah, I think my job as a technical program manager is mostly I have to collaborate with lots of people because my job is to make sure I channel their effort in terms of delivering value to the organization. Say I need to get a new product or new tools for our product or engineering team. So I need to work with teams in legal, sourcing, cybersecurity, and also my engineering team to make sure the product is safe, that the terms and conditions for that product is actually acceptable for our company. And then if I deploy this product, there will be no cybersecurity incident in future. I need to coordinate the effort of many teams and I need to work with them. Most of the time, I really need to negotiate with the teams to make sure that they prioritize some work over others. Influencing negotiation is very core to my job.
My next question was actually what skills you would need to be successful within your job, but I think you just explained the negotiation aspect of it. Do you think there are any technical skills that we might need to know before we enter?
Yeah, obviously, the technical program manager, the T is very important. You need to know technology because you need to work with technical people. So they shouldn't be thinking that, okay, I need to teach this person what my job is before he can help me. No, I should get what he is looking for. And without him telling, I will tell him, okay, do this or do that. So that is the difference between a technical program manager role to a traditional engineering manager role, that I know technology to better serve other people, right? So that's why I should be up to date on technology. But on the other thing that I said, the relationship building, then influencing, negotiation, those are also very critical aspects of mine.
So I think, they're both the technical aspects and the interpersonal skills that you're doing.
Obviously, yes.
What is your favorite part of your job and what is your least favorite part of your job?
I say working with people is the favorite part of job. Many times the people are very challenging. Now, my job is to find that why this interaction is challenging, why this person is not going to help me the way I want. That is a challenge and I love solving that challenge. I don't know what I don't like, but
We gotta be careful with this.
that's okay. But then I sometimes love to code, but my role is so crucial in terms of coordinating the effort. If I sit in a corner and start trying to do my ideas, I will not do justice to my role. So sometimes I need to sacrifice my liking for the role. I would love to have those kind of opportunities wherever it comes.
Now transition into a few questions directed towards our listeners. Most of our listeners are high school students and they're looking for opportunities and more ideas on how they can start now when they're discovering certain paths. One thing that I found super interesting, you actually are a college counselor?
Yeah, I'm a volunteer college counselor with Scholar Match, where I help early low-income first-generation students in finding career they like, their college journeys, college application process.
Why did you decide to do this?
Yeah, this is deeply personal because I'm a first-generation college student and I got lots of help from various people, my school teacher, the friends, seniors. They actually helped me in my early days when I was preparing for my engineering entrance and then choosing the professions that I want to go. So I really want to pay it forward. This is one of the best way. If I can leverage my knowledge to help these students to decide something, that will be deeply satisfying. So what I do when they come and they say, oh, you know what, I am feeling that I should go in physical therapy, then I first need to validate why physical therapy. Does he even know about physical therapy? Then my job will be working with them to understand their motivation and then find out the right major that they're going to select. I mean, coach doesn't know everything. So I told them, do you know which major you? They said, probably biology. I said, no, maybe you can search more. And they found some major called kinesiology. It's about how your body moves. And it's a very good course I found for somebody who want to be a physical therapist. So that excites me a lot, how to guide somebody in their goal and then how they achieve that goal. I will suggest one more thing. You learn most by doing, listening to others, reading, research, everything is good. But you really need to do something to understand whether you really like it. If you want to be a product manager, try launching a product. If you can launch a product, and you will see that when you go through the process, you will find whether you really like this job or not. And if not, what are the different changes you want to make to know that. So I love learning by doing, and that is what I will advise people to do that. Yeah.
So for people who are interested in engineering and computer science, what would you recommend them do?
They should do something. If it's an engineering thing, they should build something, build a drone, build a car, and go through the design process, see whether you really like it, because that will generate lots of frustrations, right? Yeah, it's really work. Same thing for software. If you have not debugged and you don't like debugging, you cannot be a software engineer. And in the age of AI, you really need to know how to leverage AI to get things done. As a software, you can generate code, but that's not into that. You still need to think about system architecture design. So I will say everybody should try to do something.
Thank you. The final question that I ask to all of my guests is, if you had the power to rewind time and you could go back to your high school years, what advice would you give to that kid?
Well, I think one thing I will say that you should always be curious. Like, curiosity is something which stays. Whatever skill you pick up tomorrow, that will be obsolete. We have learned coding now. Computer can code. So I need to update my skills every other year now. But curiosity is something which actually motivates me to go under the hood and find out that what else is there. So that is going to be extremely valuable in the coming days. I wish myself been very curious, because in my final year of engineering project, I have chosen something like electronic nose. That time, using neural network to detect the order of different rotten vegetables. And that was very experimental that time. And we did research. But after that, project submitted, I've forgotten. But now, if you see your smart refrigerators, what is there? In the panel, you will know your milk is rotting. How is it done? Because some sensor is detecting the order molecules and it going through a neural network and it is generating, oh, this means the milk is rotting. Yeah. So I wish I have been curious in those many things which I have explored. That is one thing. And then the be curious is one thing I will tell my previous selves and to all the kids who are getting out of high school now to college. And the other thing I will say that you know how to relax. That is important, because in a sense, today, the technology is something that it is always trying to grab your attention. Sometimes you spend so much time in something which doesn't add much value to your life, and actually it depletes your energy or cognitive ability. So you need to find something which you really love, like maybe playing piano, maybe drawing, singing, which actually detach yourself from your day-to-day work. That actually helps you relax, and I think you will be thinking more clearly, more creatively. So I think those are the two things I will advise my past self and anybody who is getting into college and in the career.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey. To our listeners, we hope that this episode helped you understand a bit more about the engineering major and how it can really lead to different paths that you can take in the future. And thank you so much for tuning into Pathfinder. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.